Yeah, no, I don't care that the president's here. He's going to have to wait. We're doing a live stream. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back to Curmudgeon's Corner on the Phoenix E.O.D channel. Glad that everybody could be here. Looks like we got a few people already waiting for us. So what we usually typically do, I learned this from Papa Smurf. You give them a couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes to kind of all mingle into the room, and then we'll get started with the hard-hitting questions. Tim from Shine Your Light, Keith Firebird. He was the first to like the video. There you go. I don't know why you didn't record it, but when I first set this thing up, I always hit the like from both the Phoenix account and from my account, but apparently it didn't record or save any of that. So Humberto gets credit for being the first to comment, and Keith Firebird gets the first to credit.
Sounds about right.
For liking the video. Hey, Dan DeCrane is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Tracy, good to see you. Humberto, Tim, Hawaii Tim, good to see you. Or are we calling you Doc Holiday now? I can't remember. We might be calling him Doc. His nickname continues to grow. Shine Your Light. Miller Detailing's in the house. Good to see you guys.
Just coming in. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So yeah, people are starting to really pour in, which is awesome. We'll give them a few more minutes. I hope everybody brought their apple juice.
Oh, hey man.
Excellent.
Those were specific instructions, so we had to do it.
I always find that the interviews get decisively better past the 20-minute mark for some reason. So
it's always good though.
I'm gonna shut this door over here to be sure I don't get noise destruction.
Sure, no problem.
Well, I mean, like I told Matt, man, we had a beautiful day here today, man. Cool weather. It was amazing.
We're gonna get into that. We are gonna dive into that in a minute.
I'm
excited. I really like origin stories, and I think you guys have. We actually have 3 origin stories in this interview, which is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to get into that. Ryan, good to see you, bud. He's another super fan that came all the way over to the Southern Detailers Conference. It was great to hang out with that guy.
Very nice.
Dorado 2K, good to see you, sir. All right. Where we at? Yeah, 3-minute mark. I think it's time to get started. So,
there's Matt.
Hey,
welcome.
that's not. What is that?
8:05.
Hold on a second. I want to get in on that. What is that?
Welcome, dude. Look at that.
Oh,
This is a good beer.
Yeah. What style would you say it is?
What do you think, X? More of a lighter, right? It's not a dark beer.
No, it's not a dark beer. Not at all. I don't think it is.
It's like an IPA, or we don't get that fancy.
Isn't it? With that 805 is not a wheat. It's not a wheat, right?
Yeah, it is. I think it's more of a wheat beer.
It's an interesting taste. It's
a good taste though.
Yeah, I've never been a huge fan of the IPAs. It apparently is a really big craze, especially in this area. Everybody's doing IPAs, and then you go to a draft list and it's like 16 IPAs and like 1 Pilsner or a lager or a stout.
I guess I need to get this. Let me pop this cap real quick.
Oh boy! Oh, Nacho's in here. What's up,
Nacho Man's in the house. Richard Smith is in the house. Nice. Big Red. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you too.
Miss you, brother.
Yeah. Where has Big Red been?
That I think I've seen a lot of baseball posts. So I'm guessing
baseball. A lot.
Guessing coaching and doing his thing. Well, Nacho, of course you had a detail. Baseball season. Yeah, I knew it.
Nope. So sorry that things are a little bit kind of crazy. My brother is in town. He flew in for an archery tournament that starts tomorrow and Sunday. It's for the state title, Pennsylvania. So he's shooting for the state title tomorrow. and Sunday. Hopefully, we put on a good show. I mean, we don't like to sponsor losers around here, but it happens from time to time.
No pressure, no pressure, no pressure.
No pressure at all, for sure. So I had to go to Newark, New Jersey at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Oh my God,
man,
that's
that
not a good
is
sign.
just tough. But to be completely fair, it wasn't nearly as bad as I had expected. I mean, I honestly thought it was going to be a crawl for 78 miles, but it really wasn't bad. But yeah, Newark, New Jersey on a Friday. Ooh. Anyway, all right. So everybody, welcome to the show. We have Detail Dive with us, which is a podcast. Two detailers that are definitely in the know. If you've been following their podcast, which you should be following their podcast, found on every platform that podcasts can be found. I listen to them on Spotify. They have been able to rub elbows with some of the industry's finest and some of the most exciting people in the industry. So if you really are looking for the who's who and the what's up in the industry, you need to be listening to the Detail Dive podcast. These guys know what they're talking about. They know the questions to ask, and for some reason, somehow, they are able to book some of the coolest interviews out there. So, thanks, guys, for coming and what's the word? Slumming over here at the Curmudgeon.
You're silly, dude.
I appreciate it, and I'm really excited to have this interview. So, welcome, Matt from Extra Mile Detail and Juan from XYZ Auto Detail.
Yes, sir.
Too coincidental. There's X's. I think we confuse those people. I really do. I think that throws everyone off. But
it's the universe, though.
I'm all right with it.
Hey, we're honored. Thank you for letting us come on. I know X and I
Absolutely.
were excited. As soon as we were offered the invitation, we're like, let's jump as quick as we can, as quick as Aaron's ready to go. Let's roll because it is awesome. We appreciate Aaron. Aaron's done a lot for us. I love Phoenix. I love their products. I use it every day. On my own personal business aspects of my clients. Love it. And it's an honor to come on now the show that I use their products. So it's even better.
That's awesome. And I really appreciate that. I do. It's quite an honor. I don't know if you guys saw it, maybe not, but Pan the organizer, he dropped a little video today using the Apex soap. And I mean, when I see guys like you and you know, Apex Brian and you guys and Pan the organizer that are considered influencers, you know, reaching for that stuff when the cameras aren't rolling, let alone when the cameras are rolling, man, what a feather in the hat that is. It really, you kind of fanboy out in a situation like that.
I'll tell you, it is money. I love it. I know we had, not jump ahead, but I remember having a conversation when we first met, Aaron and I, and one of the conversations at X, and we were all on the phone. I was like, dude, I need a soap. Out here in the heat, dude. I need a soap. And Aaron probably remembers it. I'm like, dude, I gotta have something that can sustain this heat and that gives me the longevity. It gives me the foam. It gives me the cleaning ability. Doesn't leave the residue. And I'm like, dude,
it's true.
Ching ching, win-win, baby, all the way.
I do. I really appreciate that, for real. But I mean, that's not why we're on the show. We're not on the show to stroke Phoenix, as much as I do appreciate it. And it's also the part of the story is that I really want to. I appreciate it because it is not solicited and it's the truth. And that's one of the things that I've come to really enjoy listening to you guys on your podcast, is that you know, there's not a whole lot of sugarcoating. Not that there needs to be. I think that there's a place for civility throughout the industry. I think Ivan is a pretty good example of that, where he seems to just really get along with everyone, regardless of competition or like Brian from Apex says, there's room for everybody. You know,
Absolutely.
there's room for everybody.
Absolutely.
So I do love a great origin story, and as I was telling Juan earlier, there's 3 origin stories that are happening right in front of me, and so let's start from the very, very beginning. how did you two guys meet?
X, jump on that, X, dude.
You were in Arizona and he's in Los Angeles. I used to live in Irvine, which is just south of Los Angeles.
I know where that is.
As I lived there for about 4 years, and I still never made it to Arizona during that time. So how did you guys hook up, connect?
Dude, you want to handle that, or you want me to do it?
You can't. Go ahead. I'll add to it. Jump on it. I'll add to it.
So when I started out in the game a little bit, I wasn't really on Instagram. So people were like, dude, you got to start Instagram. Go try it out. Stuff out there. I said, cool, man, no problem. So I decided one night, I was sitting at home, started an Instagram page. And as I started the page, I saw people going live, and you kind of see certain people. And I was not working, but I was with another company that I started using their products. And this guy went live. And I clicked on it one day, and we kind of just had this back and forth during the live. And as we were going back and forth, there was different people popping in the room, and that was like the first one he's ever done. Then he did it again, and he just started going live every once in a while, and we started jumping on. And I noticed Matt one day, and I did an interview with him, with one of the guys. And about an hour after I was done, they asked Matt to come on right after me. And I was sitting there like, who's this? And the story was interesting. And I was like, dude, that mindset, that sounds really familiar from where he wants to go, what he's trying to build, what his goals are. And he's been in it for a while now. And ever since that day, he was like, hey, man, what's up? And we just started talking. It was just that weird, natural friendship, the connection. And we actually, so we met through a guy from New York, and Here we are now. I never would have guessed it.
Wow. A guy from New York brought a guy from California and a guy from Arizona together. That's fantastic.
Pretty wild.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is that I've never been on Instagram. Like, my whole career has been Facebook. So that's what makes it even more intriguing and wild is that I would have never met Juan ever if I didn't take the initial interest in trying to do Instagram just for a short amount of time. And I had connected a lot of some of the live connections that were going on during the time. And it happened, like you said, the gentleman in New York and a guy actually in, I think, Houston, were doing kind of a conversation and two detailers, and we interact back. And I said, you know what, I really, really liked what X's theory and thought process was, and he was working in California, and he just seemed genuine and humbled and had a great attitude about it. And I said, dude, I like that. And in the back of my mind, I've always wanted to do some kind of live stream or some podcast to just gather and create this massive detail community. It's just always been a goal of mine since I started detailing. And when I saw, Juan X, I said, you know what, dude, he's the right guy. So I sent him a message. I said, dude, this is my idea. You shoot it down. I don't care. It's an idea I thought. Let's sit and brainstorm together. Let's talk about it. Is this something that we can do together, make it work? And at that point, he's like, dude, I like it. I like the concept. I think we could do some big things. And at that point, our first meet was in Palm Springs. We just scheduled it and said, hey, let's do our first launch. Let's meet together in person. And dude, from at that point on, dude, we just kept going and going. And what a great, it's been an incredible experience, incredible time. Journey, the people we're meeting, the people we're able to have on. It's just been awesome. It's been so much fun. Exactly what I wanted it to be. So
how many podcasts have you done so far? How many interviews? Because I know that I was hanging out on the page. I think the last one I just listened to was Detail Chick.
Oh, okay. So I think we're up to, oh my gosh, we're over 25 now.
Wow. Yeah, we're over 25, our most recent one is with Jamie the Cleaner.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. I saw that. I didn't have a chance to listen to it yet.
So Jamie the Cleaner, that was fun. He is another great icon, great guy in the industry, and just it was really fun. People will enjoy hearing his story because he opens up and really talks about his story.
It was great.
It was really intriguing, very cool, funny too.
I definitely am looking forward to listening to it. I have. I think we're making soap on Monday. and so
Nice.
we'll be listening to it in the warehouse.
Good. So you got enough soap. I'm getting ready to order again, so I hope that soap's ready for me.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're ramping up production to I'm making a tote for the first time. Normally we do these small batches in a 55-gallon barrel, and I get another upgrade with equipment, and so now we're gonna try making a large batch and see how it goes. It could go horribly wrong, which is expensive and messy. But it can also go really, really great. And if we can do that, then I think with the last set of equipment, the last evolution of the warehouse, if you will, we amped up production levels from 2,000 bottles a week to 2,000 bottles a day. So we got some really cool new equipment in there that really can churn out some product, which is a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
That's great.
Jeez.
That's really, really good. I mean, that's a big movement.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it kind of makes you feel a little bit legit.
Absolutely.
Big deal.
So let me pivot here real quick, since we're still in the origin story mode of it. Juan, when did you discover or feel the need to detail, and how did that become XYZ detailing? And then one more question before I let you run. Where did that name come from?
Man, that name is it's very special to me, right? There was something that had to be unique about it.
Juan,
don't go.
Come back to us. Come back to the light. All right. All right. Same question to you, Matt. Right. Extra mile detail.
Absolutely. You know what? Is he coming back?
He's trying. He's trying really hard.
He's struggling. We'll get started and we'll let him.
Yeah, we'll get started when you figure out your internet. Yeah.
You know what? I can't take credit. I have to give credit where credit's due, and that's obviously with my wife. We really, really brainstormed. When I decided to start the detailing business some time ago, it was something that I wanted to do, but I wanted to come up with something that was that was unique, but stood and had kind of something to stand behind, that had some meaning behind it too. So we went through a ton of different names, just different concepts. And my wife's like, dude, what about Extra Mile? And then she actually came up with the logo, which was the tire, and having it go all the way around. And I said, dude, money pot. I love it. I love the logo. I think it's perfect. And I ran with it because I liked it. It stood for something. And as I always say, we always go with our business, just like many other companies, going the extra mile. It's true. As a detailer, you want to go the extra mile. You want to perform. You want to do what you got to do to make your client pleased, happy. And just, it's the little things. What little extra can you do as a detailer to, you don't need recognition for it, but it just sets it aside from somebody else. And right. I think the name set very well. I liked it because it kind of stands for what I was, what I believe in is really fully going the extra mile each time and all the work that you do. And that's where it stood. So that's how I got my name. And I've, obviously been with it for some time now. And have actually been detailing 100% in Phoenix, and I've been mobile the whole time. So we're talking 15, almost 16 years of just strict mobile. Nothing, no shops, all mobile.
16 years of all mobile. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you've seen some heat.
A lot of heat. Many summers where I didn't know if I was going to make it out, and I should have probably checked myself in the hospital because I didn't pay attention to what I was doing. Thought I was a hero. I thought I could keep on going, at the early stages of not educating, understanding, what it can do. There was many, many days and many summers in that journey so far, getting to where I'm at, where they were questionable. I should have not hydrating properly, trying to extend, trying to overdo yourself, and not being smart. But, now that I've been in it long enough to, been able to understand the process and what we need to do and how to adapt, starting early, ending early, especially in the summer times. Obviously, during the winter and spring times and those things, you've got a longevity because of the weather being nice. But
right.
Yeah, in the summertime, it is no joke.
So I actually been thinking about you and that scenario for a little while now, and you know, my brother is a competitive archer, and when he is in the actual tournament, once he gets set on the line, he has to stay there. Where I know not a whole lot of people, not to get too far into the minutia, but basically it goes in rounds. And so like it'll be like line A, B will shoot, and then they'll sit back under the tents, and then B, C, D will shoot. And then, but if you're in a wheelchair, once you're set at the line, you don't move. So there's no coming off of the line. And I know from just being a part of his archery, just getting hammered for hours and hours and hours under that heat. And this is what this is Pennsylvania / New Jersey, so it's not nearly as brutal as what you're dealing with in Phoenix, Arizona. So how do you, like, what are your methods of surviving that? I mean, do you, like,
you know what? My biggest thing, my biggest thing is, you know, sun rises early. So I've been blessed and lucky enough to have the clientele in the business where clients are receptive for me starting at like 5:15, 5:30 in the morning. I start at 5:30 a.m. And I go to probably push it. My latest, I like to be done by 11:30 at noon. So I'm done for the day by noon, most part, unless I'm on a job that's taking me a little longer.
Time sensitive, sure.
Yeah, but that is usually what I've done to try to allow me to, you know, obviously keep myself healthy, but allow me so that I can be prepared enough and ready to go the next day. When I've had the past where I've gone and extended myself to 2, 3, 3:30 in the afternoon, like I'm telling you, I can hardly move. It's almost a day or 2 days to recover because of what it just does to your body. It just physically and mentally just takes everything out of you. So that has been my game plan. It's been extremely beneficial and very, very helpful in the many years I've been now approaching and doing that route, because it allows me to be able to, you know, prepare for the next day. I'm able to get home, hydrate, re-gild myself back to where I need to be. Because, you know, like you said, I don't have the shelter of being able to pull into a shop once in a while, a garage, but that's, you know, unless I'm doing a correction or something, that's the only time I'm using the garage. So yeah, it's really just, and I hydrate. Like when I say hydrate, I'm drinking a lot of water, electrolytes, days, not just the day of, but the days prior, just so I can prepare.
Okay. All right. Hey, Juan, welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
You're not in the shop yet, though, Matt, right? I mean, I feel like maybe.
Oh, we're close. We're close, dude.
Never say never.
We're close to possibly having one, dude.
You know, so that's a big deal.
All right, so to basically rewind a little bit, Juan, we were talking about your origin story and where XYZ came from, and you were saying that it had to be really special. I remember when we were doing the whole Phoenix E.O.D thing, you know, I had a lot of people saying, you know, try this and try that and try this and try that, and I remember a very, very dear friend of mine saying that he's married to a tattoo artist. And she had said, if you're going to get a tattoo, the tattoo has to mean something special to you. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says. And then so that kind of really helped me, you know, dial in on exactly where I wanted to be. And so, you know the origin story that we've told it a couple of times in interviews about Phoenix being special to me and being special to my brother, rising from the ashes and so on and so forth. So let's, can you?
So it was more like I wanted something that was simple, but like you said, meant something to me, because my dad always told me the why not? Why can't you do that? You know, you choose not to, or you just don't want, what's the problem? You know, why not do it? So the XYZ was something that people always said was like, yeah, when you're using this or when you're going through this in life and it's XYZ and then you figure it out later, it was a perfect saying. But then the why always meant something for me, because my dad always said, well, why can't you do things? What's stopping you from doing it? So the why is actually bigger than anything else in that whole
I love
name there. It just speaks to me. And I always remember it. You see it every day, but it always brings me back to his mindset. And when me and Matt talk or if I have an idea about something, it's always like, well, you can't do it, but why not? Why can't we do this? Let's do it. Why not? It'll work. It'll happen if you want it.
I have definitely noticed that watching you two guys and your trajectory. The things that you guys are accomplishing is definitely a why not mentality, and I love that.
Yeah, it just goes farther. It's just people can say things, and me and Matt talk about all the time. It's how bad do you want it, and why can't we do big things? Why can't somebody go out and start their own business or do this or do whatever it is in life? But it's just the why not? Let's do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So Matt, it was your idea for the detail dive. Juan, you got on board with it. I've noticed that you guys tell me, how do you guys break down the interview process? Is there a script that you follow? Is there a method that you follow? Do you do research on everybody before getting on the show?
I will say this. Matt sent the first message, and then one night I was at home, and I think it was like at 10 o'clock at night. He randomly sent me a message, and I was like, this guy was from the live. I know we talked back and forth, and I called him, and that phone call led to like a 2-hour conversation of like, hey man, this is what I think. This is what I want. What do you think? I was like, dude, we're going to run with this. This is a brilliant idea. We went back and forth, and it was like, the main thing, I think Matt would say the same thing. Let's get companies on and just have a conversation. It doesn't need to be, it can be sometimes, I want to ask this question specifically, but also it's almost like, let's just bring people on and have a normal conversation amongst professionals about anybody. Let's just talk. Let's just see where it goes.
Right. So what happens? What happens if you have a particularly difficult interview where, let's just say somebody is quiet or kind of it does happen. It does happen. You're kind of like, I'm trying to pull information out of you. You got to give me something to work with. Right. So I always find it to be a little advantageous to do a little bit of digging, a little bit of research. For you guys, it was easy because I just had to listen to podcasts.
And I think that's the thing.
And of course, you and I have a relationship where we text each other back and forth pretty much daily. Something's going between the three of us. So
I think, there is some research because usually prior to us deciding or trying to extend the invitation to the individual guests or those that may be on the podcast or a live stream, we really want to see what that individual is doing. I speak as a detailer, kind of what their work is, what the relationship is out in the community, in the detail community, how they present themselves. Because all these characteristics are very important to me, and I know to X as well. When we're speaking to them, we want to be sure they're aligned with the character and the goals and the values and stuff that we're trying to present on Detail Dive. So that's a key factor. And we do look at a lot of their profile, their social media, any of their videos. We look at just their content, what they're putting out. As long as I'm a big person. It's professional content. It's official, and it's presenting in a manner that's good, that people can see and value. And then it's important to see what their peers think of them. That's important to me too. If everyone on the social media, not that that's the all be all, but how are they interacting with their peers and their other social detailers out there in the social media and then just within the community is important. But I'll tell you, to answer the question, I know X and I have said this before. We have had people that have been on that have been what you just said. Right. Very, very challenging. You ask them the question and it's a one-line answer, a one-word answer, and then you almost feel like you're answering the question for them. And it becomes very, very challenging. But, my thing is I just feel like I just continue to ask the question and hopefully that they relax. And I know there's some nerves with a lot of people. Not everyone's comfortable getting on live and speaking. That could be part of the, that creates that. But I know. I think there are certain questions and certain things that we do. I think X, right, that we do pretty consistency on most of the lives because we want to be consistent on that. But we like it to be as natural as possible. I really like the natural side of it. Coming from the corporate training and executive, like I like just being natural. I think people feel the more genuine and more comfortable than feeling like the unknown of, oh, I don't know what I'm going to be hit with. I don't want to be hit with a curveball. I want to be able to feel like I can answer the question. And that's just something I just want everyone to feel comfortable and that they know that we're just talking about their journey and their story. So they should feel comfortable able to answer anything about themselves. You know, we may throw a couple of things, but for most part, I mean, I think we're not necessarily script. We have some consistency when it comes to some of the opening and closing and a few questions. At most part, like Juan said, like it is pretty much just having that natural conversation with people. And it just feels like people have opened up and we've got to really know people better that way. But doesn't mean that's the right and the only right way.
No, but it definitely works. And I would say that just from listening to your stuff, I would say, and please don't take this the wrong way. Again, this is what you were just talking about. I think that you definitely, Matt, have a little bit more of a dominant personality, where you're kind of really driving the bus, a lot of it, as in just like. But I love the fact that that Juan, you have the wrap up and the final say. Like, there's definitely a flow that you guys have that works very, very well. And again, I only have the last one, the detail check podcast to it is the freshest in my head. But it seemed like you guys were laughing the whole time, and it was just very easygoing. You guys definitely. I felt that you got her very best just because of how easy it went, and yet you still had very poignant questions. And there were even aspects of it. I was like, well, I want to know more. I want to know, keep going down that path. And it probably would have been awkward to keep going down certain paths. So I think you guys do just a really, really a real smooth job of making it happen. And I appreciate that. So
I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. I think it's nice to hear that people enjoy it. I think ultimately, as I know, I sound like a broken record. We always say, if there's feedback or there's thoughts or ideas or topics, we are open books. Like, we really want to be open as possible. I know Juan and I both want to be as open and willing for feedback and make it the best and make it as welcoming and friendly and to everybody. It's not exclusive to anybody. We want it to be open to everyone. Everyone feel comfortable. So.
Yeah, we want it to be, like you said, we want it to be fun, impactful, but yet we want to get people's names out there and then what they do and who they are as a person. And we think that's the most important thing. And, letting the next person know, because in this game of, it's very intimidating. It really is what we do. And, you got to, hopefully they help the next person down the line.
All right. So one of the other things that I learned from just hanging out with Papa Smurf and doing his live streams and stuff like that, I learned. But honestly, between Fab and Papa, I learned most of this kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, Papa even introduced me to this platform and whatnot. But one of the things that he taught me is that you definitely different, I would say, than a podcast. This is a live stream. We have to really interact with the people that are here. We really, really, really appreciate everybody that's here watching. And they ask a lot of questions, and then if I'd like to get to as many questions as possible. So here's the first one that I saw. Well, not the first one that I saw, but the first one I'm going to address, and then we can scroll back up. I saved a couple of other questions that people have asked. But what's the first thing in the detail game you just can't work without, that one took you have to have on the job? Okay, yeah. So Juan, what's a tool that you have to have on the job when you're doing a detail?
The tornador. I need the gun. I need the gun all day. I need that. That I cannot. That, you know what? That job makes life so much easier. That's exactly what I need. If I had to pick one, that's it.
All right, Matt. Same question.
Well, depending on the job, as a general tool, that X took my word, because of the Tornador is such a multi-use tool that can be used from external to internal. So I really do like that tool. I'll tell you on the I'm a big advocate with having. I really like a topper. It is probably, I mentioned this in one of the previous recordings we have. One of my favorite things on detailing that I feel like I have to have is a topper at the end. It doesn't matter if it's maintenance or whatever. I always have to put a topper on when I'm done, because the slick, shiny, glossy feel is so big to me. I feel like it's a completion of the job. And again, I know I'm not shy, but dude, I use it today. I use it every day. That Titan from you guys, as soon as Nacho led me into that, I was bought it, and that's my go-to for every single I have a lot of I do a lot of maintenance. It goes on every maintenance car every single time, and it's just, I love the feel. I love that finishing touch. I feel like it completes the job. I guess that's the easiest way for me, and I like it. So the Tornador being the multi-purpose tool that I like for everything, and then my favorite thing that I can't go without is the topper. That's me.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Wow. That's fantastic. All right. I starred the other question. So, Matt, do you have any relatives in Illinois?
Not that I know of, but maybe I do.
You never know.
Right?
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
All right. Okay. There's another question. Well, not really a question. It's more of a statement that I starred. We'll get to that a little bit later. I do want to go back to it, but we could just dive into it right now. Why not? Okay, so Papa Smurf a little bit ago, he asked, he made the statement, over delivery is the key, and it was when you were talking about extra mile for, because you go the extra mile for the customer, and Juan, you had said, why not? Why can't we do that? So so far this has been kind of a theme throughout all of my little curmudgeon corners, because I'm always so super curious about this particular subject, and it stems from basically hanging out with Phil. And if you've listened to or watched any of these curmudgeon corners, you've heard this story 100 times. Where basically Phil, being the perfectionist, wants to go after something, but because he's already explained to the customer what is necessary to go after to make a perfect paint correction, and the customer opts out of it. It pains him, but he doesn't do it because the customer's not paying for it. Right. So my question, I have a twofold question that I would love to hear both from both of you. The first one is, how do you stop yourself from going the extra mile when they're not paying for it, or do you just go ahead and do it anyway because it's the nice thing to do, and so on and so forth? And then two, do you assume any kind of liability for that? Let's say you go after something that you maybe or maybe shouldn't go, and then something goes wrong, and now all of a sudden it's just like, well, I didn't want you to do that anyway, but you did it, and now something is messed up or damaged or whatever, or you had to go even further to fix what you didn't think it was that big of a problem, but now as soon as you started pulling the thread on the sweater, the whole thing's unraveled. So how do you handle that? Matt, go ahead, and then
you know what, the extra mile, the extra token, the extra things when it comes to that, we'll start. It's hard. It depends on, for me, it depends on what job it is and what extent it goes to. There's extra being, I can go from, hey, they don't want shampoo, but they have stains on the carpets, to, hey, you know what? I just wanted the seats. I just wanted to vacuum and then wipe down. Don't worry about anything else. And usually on a maintenance, I'm not sitting and going into the console and digging in the cup holders, and that's just not that's part of the detailing. But for me, something as small as that, if I'm into doing a general cleaning and I see the cup holders in the back where the kids are or something that I'll take the step of going and cleaning that out. That's not part of what I'm doing, because I feel just that small portion of token that takes me an extra 3, 4, 5 minutes can make a big difference The kids get in, the parents or mother or father sees, hey, you know what? That cup holder was gunked with gum and chewing and food and gummies and stuff. To that extent, I'm happy to do that. And I feel like there's no harm, no foul at that point. You're not doing anything. When we're going to the extent of doing like shampooing, stain removal, there's where I have to draw a line, because now you're getting chemicals out. You're potentially talking about extractors or steamers, and that's a very time consuming thing. And that part, I just have to, I have to tell myself that at the beginning of my whole detailing career, I would feel like I needed to do it because I felt like it was going to build the credibility of my business and me, and that was just going to get me where I needed to be. That's why I did it.
100%. I find that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I find that to be the case, especially when it comes to customer service and manufacturer. Absolutely. It's kind of like, man, like you bought that product a year ago, and now you're having a problem with it, and you're asking me like, what's the like? I don't want that black eye. So do I placate to the guy? I'm like, or you left the trigger. Like, we got this a lot with the Immortal. You would leave the trigger in the bottle and use it one time, set it on your shelf, and then you come back to it 3 months later, and it's like a gelatinous cube, and they go, hey, my bottle of Immortal went bad, and you're kind of like, we have posted it and said it 1,000 times, take the trigger out, put the cap back on, and store it in a nice cool place.
Yes.
But do I fall on the sword and replace the bottle, or do I run the risk of getting a bad review or a 1 star? Oh, I tried it one time and it was junk. Like,
it's true.
It's really, really tough. But
Yeah.
you've been doing it for 16 years, so I would imagine you have probably quite the reputation in Phoenix.
I think a lot. The other one that comes pretty frequent to me is if I'm doing a detail and I'm clay barring. Like, I'll give you an example. I did it actually this week. It was a perfect example. I did this Volvo. I was detailing it. Did the exterior. I clay barred it. I put topper. I did everything. But there were some scratches, not deep scratches, just some minor marks and things on the front bumper. And that has nothing to do with the detail. That's typically goes underneath paint corrections is where I put it under, because you usually got to use a polish, or depending on how severe, usually a polish will take it off if it's not too deep. Yeah. And what I did is it drove me nuts to see the car was completely shiny and clean, and on the front passenger bumper had these black little marks all over it, and they weren't deep. They just they had brushed something. But for me, it just bugged me, and I knew that it would just change the look of the front of the car. And I literally took a clean microfiber towel with some polish, and I wiped on the bumper, which was not part of the deal. It wasn't my responsibility to clean it. It wasn't something we agreed upon, and took it off. But I also said, hey, just so that you know, this is something that I did because you hadn't. And they were very happy about it. But those are just like the little things that, like when I say go the extra mile, and a lot of times I don't even tell the people some of the things I do. Especially if it's not severe or something very big or whatever. But that was just something recently. Chrome tips on the back of a car is another thing I'll spend time on. Because it doesn't take a lot of time, but it basically makes the back of the rear end of the car, especially if you got dual exhaust on a sports car, it just looks good. But that's my take.
What's your thoughts on that?
Same
question.
It's the same thing. It's the same mindset, man. I'm telling you, we're exactly the same. It's one of those things where if you can do it, and it's nothing major, bringing out machines, and it's going to take an extra 45 an hour, and you got other people and other appointments. It's one of those things where, the plastic around the car. We did a Toyota, a smaller car, and you know what? We have extra time. Let's hit the plastic on the outside real quick, and it just pops. That faded turns really, really black, and the whole car looks amazing, and you didn't pay for it. And I know a lot of people charge extra for that, but also it's just kind of like, we have the time, let's just do it. And the people came, and the clients were like, holy crap, this thing looks amazing. It's all about the little things that add up to all the big things at the end.
All right. Okay. All right. I got 3 more stars. Here we go. Question. How did you come up with the name Detail Dive?
That's a very good question. How did we come up with that, man?
Dude, we went back.
It's 100% fitting. Like, it is the perfect fit for what you guys do. But that's a good question of how exactly did that come up?
We went back and forth for a few days, man. I'm talking.
We had a sheet. A sheet
What
full of
were
names.
what were the top 4 runner-ups?
Dude, you remember?
It was detail drive, detail dive. It was detail something else. I mean, there was just some. I mean, there's no wrong idea in that game, right? When you're coming up with something, and we had this. I even have the book somewhere. That'd be a funny post to be like, this is what we almost had.
Yeah.
And we sat there and we were going back and forth, and he goes, "What are we talking about?" I said, "Well, detailing. We're trying to get people's stories. What about like detailed
detail
dive?
rabbit hole.
That's what we're doing, and that's how it came about." And it was actually funny because I think it was like at a random hour of one night, and then he's like, "Detail dive." I'm like, "That's it. That's what we're doing."
And I think that was the biggest thing, is that we wanted to not pigeonhole ourselves with a name that would not be open. That was something as well. That was something big. I know X and I were big fans of really wanting, when we got into this, that this could expand into larger areas and not just be limited to just the detail community.
Yeah.
Detail dive could be diving into many different areas, and that's really the goal, is diving in, really getting to know the individual, knowing the product, knowing the company, know the detail, know their journey, their story. It's just very fitting, I think, for what really ultimately what our goal is to do.
Right.
I agree. I have let's see here. Shine Your Light says, I'd like to start in the grind. And in the eternal words of Juan, why not?
Why not? Exactly.
Why not? Just do it. Just do it, man.
Absolutely.
No, not till you try.
All right. Next one. How long does it take you, Matt, or Juan to do a maintenance on a customer?
You know what? It just depends on which car and whatever. It depends if it's a bigger. I'll tell you, it's a couple different things.
Yep.
I have bi-weekly clients. Yep. I have monthly clients. I even have quite a few weekly clients. Depending on the longevity of how long it is, size as well. So on a Suburban, let's just go on the big side. Suburban big truck, we're probably about an hour and a half. An hour and a half on a good maintenance. That's external and internal cleaning for maintenance. On a car, more of a sedan or something, once I've set up and everything, I'm probably about an hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
All right. Do y'all detail together or y'all solo detailing? Now, I know that you guys, you live in California and you live in Arizona, but I'm under the impression, at least not too long ago, that Matt, you were up in California hanging with Juan. Were you guys, besides just setting up that shop and whatnot, were you guys doing any detailing together?
Oh, dude.
Oh, we got a lot of it. Oh, yeah, there's a lot. He's been out here doing a lot of the mobile, and then when I go back there, we do quite a bit back there. A lot of coatings and detailing. So yeah, we've done quite a bit. We've got some other things we're trying to work on the detail side. We might need to pick your brain and try to get a hold of. I hadn't told X, but thinking about getting a hold of learning the aspects of PPF. So
yeah,
you
should definitely. I can put you in contact with Brian.
That's who I'm gonna get a hold of to talk to you.
I literally have been hanging out with him weekly at this point. My biggest hang up, I think, on especially on my channel and with our product, there's like I don't have any content on YouTube, on social media of and even on the website of instructional videos. And I said, Brian, you've been doing this for 1,000 years. I don't have anybody on the other side of the camera. I have no problem talking about the products and so on and so forth, but and the people that I do have, like, it would just be not to be disparaging to anybody that I work with, but it would be, just a little bit better than a tripod. I need you on the other side of the camera as kind of like the director, to know when to zoom in on something, tell me what to highlight. And so he's been helping me. Every week we've been going down a different product. And now it's left up to me and my team to do all the editing. So we're editing the videos right now, but we have a couple of videos already done. But to further your point, I'm up there, and then in this once we get the filming done, he usually puts me to work, and he's I'm holding the PPF for him, or it is so. It is the technology of the PPF in 1 year alone has grown, let alone 3 years ago. I know I have a really good detailing buddy who's adamant against PPF. It destroys this and it destroys that, and every concern that he's had, I've brought to Brian, and Brian was like, he's 100% accurate 5 years ago. The technology has grown. We can do this, we can do that. He has a machine now where he types into the computer the make and model of that vehicle and the year of that vehicle, and it spits out a cut sheet of exactly what those panels are supposed to be.
Wow.
I mean, it is incredible, the technology that has happened. So I definitely will put you guys in contact. And Brian does like being in front of the camera, so this is a really good. I think it would work out very well for both of you.
Be great.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love it. I think it would be awesome, especially someone that's been in it, knows it, does it, eats it, drinks it, lives it. I mean, that's
where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
But I think like that question. I mean, from Nacho, it was like one of those things when me and Matt come, that we've done coatings together, we've done maintenance washes, we've done details, we've done pretty much everything down the line together, and it's so much fun. It's so like, you forget you're working, and it's just like we love what we do, number one, but number two, you put two people together that have the same mindset. It's so fun, man. It's wild.
So when you go out to Arizona, what's that like? Like, is that culture shock of getting hit with 120 degree sunlight without any kind of? Because I know that you do a lot outdoors, but I also know that you now have a shop. So
it's one of those.
Are you getting soft?
5.5 hours. I'm trying to psych myself up to be. I'm going to be outside. Don't forget it. You're going to be outside, and I'll go. And I think the first time I went out, or the second time I went out there, we did it. We had a full day. It was a full day, and I'll never forget it. By the second car, I was sunburned. I was like, my face was burning. I went back to the hotel. I took a shower. I was all red. It was insane. And the next time I went out there, I was in a hoodie. I said, I ain't taking this off. I'm going to sweat. I don't care. I'm not going to get sunburned again. People were coming up to us. They were like, hey, man, you're in Phoenix. I said, yeah, but I got sunburned last time. It makes sense. Trust me. It makes sense.
There is this invention that they made. I think it was something like 1 million years ago, and it's called sunscreen.
No, it didn't work.
You just spray it on. It's this crazy. This is crazy thing. It's like magic. It's this can, and you just spray it on there, and then all of a sudden you don't burn. Oh my God!
That Phoenix sun burned right through it. I swear to God, it didn't work. It didn't work. I don't know what Matt does out there, but it didn't work. I don't know how. I don't get it. I don't know.
You know what's something I always thought. Well, before I started working outside, because I was always inside at buildings and working in that world, until I started and I always would see these landscapers out here in Phoenix with long sleeves, hats on, with long pants. I'm like, aren't they burning up? And I learned very quickly. You know what?
Wait a second. There is. I mean, if you really want to get technical about it, like there is some truth to that. If I don't believe that you've ever seen, at least I've never seen, and I hope this isn't coming across weird, but I've never seen an Arab in shorts and a tank top.
Right.
They usually are head to toe in some sort of garment. So there is some validity, but I don't necessarily know if I'm going to wear a 100% cotton sweatshirt in Phoenix degree sun. I might wear something that's a little bit more breathable. A
lot of them will wear, like for me, I wear a long sleeve shirt and I'll wear shorts, but then I have a bucket hat that has a flap that goes down, covers my neck, covers my head.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, he didn't get that. I have one, but I don't think he likes the bucket hat, dude. It creeped your style.
I can't detail like this. What do you want me to do?
All right. I got another one. Do you feel it's wrong to invoice the extra mile and show it compelled to zero in hopes of a tip? Before you answer that question, this was a very interesting question that I was hanging out at Big Mike's bike show a couple of weeks ago, and we actually got on that subject. We were talking about the invoicing of the extra mile. You know what? Just you guys just answer the question. Juan, go ahead. Answer the question. Do you feel compelled to basically you're showing the fact that you went the extra mile, and maybe not saying, but at the same time, what happened with Bob was he basically backdoored himself into a price to where he had to go the extra mile. But he had already basically, instead of an estimate, he gave like a hard quote. And he was like, we'll do $600 for this truck. And then when he got the truck and actually did the walk around and inspection, it was like, oh my God, this is going to take a million times more than what I quoted this guy. And he basically just ate it. You know what I mean? You just eat it. So the question is, do you estimate? Do you quote? Do you put the extra mile and zero it out, hoping to be compensated for that? Go ahead.
I mean, the little things, no. I mean, we just do them. I think this is one of those things. For the little things, I can do them, knock them out real quick. It's fine. I don't say anything. Hey, man, it's done. Your car looks great. See you next week. The bigger things, if we're going to do a paint correction or something like that, or something more intense, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, you can explain to me on the phone all day long, but when you get here, more than likely the price might change because of this, this, and this, and this. And me and Matt actually talked about this a lot. And it's one of those things where it's like you have to be upfront when the car comes in, when the client comes in. You know, for us, it's just kind of like, okay, you make it really thorough to where we hope that doesn't happen. So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I said this, but you know, it's here now, and you didn't explain this, and this is what we're seeing. It's going to come up just a little bit on this aspect because of this, this, and this.
Right.
Yeah. For me, I don't invoice or put anything on the invoice of anything extra, unless it's something that's significant and we discuss. And I'll give you an example. I always am very upfront with the clients. I said this on a live just the other day. I told Excess many times. I have a list of things that I go through with new potential clients. All the questions that I really want to know that could really affect my job and that client's car when I get to it. So I really want to be thorough because I don't necessarily personally go and check every job before. Just not time consuming, cost efficiency. It doesn't make sense for me. So I will go through a series of questions that I put together, very thorough. I also make it very clear to this potential client or clients that if I get there and it's not to the level of what we've discussed, it could increase. And I also will say I've had numerous times where I've decreased the price because the car is not in the condition as severe as we've talked and discussed about. So I've gone both sides. I've gone where I've decreased it and I've also increased it. But I also make that very clear before I start the job. When I get there, I evaluate the car. And if the car is in a position and level and condition that's not where it's par to what we discussed, I say, hey, if we're going to continue, because you've got 4 pounds of dog hair in here. You said you had a few hairs in here. You got 4 pounds of dog hair all over the seats, all over the floor. That's time consuming. It costs money. If you want me to remove it, I'm happy to. And this is the price it's going to cost. So I'm just usually upfront. For me, I find in the time that I've done this numerous times, the client is very receptive. They find that very respectful. I'm not trying to win over or push anything on them, but I give them the honesty and the right to say, hey, yes, go ahead, or no, don't worry about it. Just do what we discussed. Because I feel that's just the better way of handling the business. And on the tip side, I don't ever go into the job banking on a tip. I just never have. I know some people do. I never bank on it. I just hope that my work speaks for it and that I do a good enough job that they recognize it and they think that, hey, you know what? He's put the energy and time in it. And, you know, for the token of putting the energy and sweat and tears, here's a token of appreciation. That's just how I approach it. But
exactly.
That's great. The next one that I got for you guys is Matt, Juan. What's the first thing you've learned from one another when it comes to detailing that you implement in every detail now? Like, what tip or trick did you learn from Juan? And Juan, what tip or trick did you learn from Matt when you guys kind of collude?
Jeez, dude, that's a good question, Papa Smurf.
That's a very good question.
And hey, real quick, Eric, Superado says, "Tell Major Trainwreck good luck this weekend." He gives you the "will do" sign. All right, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
I think one of the biggest things that I've taken away from Matt is starting early. You know, just because you have a shop doesn't mean. And for me, it's in the industrial park, and I get a lot of people inside here. They're on maintenance schedules. They're here super early. Matt's been here. They're here at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and there's no reason why you should be starting at 8. You know, you start 5. Let's go. They're here. You're here. You know, you got a schedule to keep. Let's get them in. Let's get them out. And people are happy. Like, damn, it's done already. Absolutely. Here you go. And I think that's one of the biggest the things that going out there. We start when I go out there, and Matt, he's at the hotel at 5 o'clock. Let's roll. I'm outside. I'm grabbing something to eat. Let's get out. And that's a good habit to pick because it opens you up for something more, or you're done early. And you know, do other things. You clean up your stuff. You're not rushing. So that's one of the biggest things I've learned from him.
All right, Matt.
You know what? There's many things I think that when it comes to X, because obviously he does a shop and I do detailing. So it's, you know, we have different little routines and things or whatever that we do. I have really, you know, I should say, it's not that it was kind of, he is a wheel guru. And I'll tell you, he's a wheel guru because, dude, I've never seen anyone clean wheels as thorough and as efficient and having the wheels look as pristine as he does. And I felt like, you know, as he came out and I watched him jump on the wheels and cleaning and things like that, I thought, dude, I've been cutting these guys short. Or I've been doing a shitty, like, I feel like I'm not giving the full service when it comes to the wheels. And I mean, not that I didn't have the tools, but I mean, he's really into the fact of foaming the wheels. Like, he's got like 5 different brushes for the wheels, dude. And I'm like, I know he probably thought I was some hobo when he came out. I got like 3 brushes. He's probably, what the hell are you doing? How are you cleaning wheels with 3 brushes? But that's awesome. It really has. That has played a big factor because now it's like I get on my bucket or I get on my seat for each wheel. I spray them down. I really clean them really well. I scrub the tires with my tire brush. I have the interior brush. I have the lug nut brush. I have the inner, like, which is all what he did. And that's completely changed my perspective on wheels because, you know, not that my wheels weren't clean. They just, I don't think they were as efficient and as he was putting the time energy. No, I think that's something that I have to say that I really have implemented more. And I think a lot of it, not a bad, when you're outside again and it's hot, the thing is your mindset is like, dude, I want to try to get through this job because first the water's drying. I'm cleaning the wheels and then I've got water on the car. It's drying. So I'm like, how can I be more sufficient quickly and getting the job done, but still delivering the results that I need to. So it's just really, I had to step back a little bit and really evaluate and say, hey, dude, I'm not really I could do a lot better. And that was something
it's funny that the old company that I worked for, when they were doing, they had a lot of rental cars. And that was the one thing that the rental car agencies would always say. It was just like, you can get away with a dirty car, but those wheels better be clean because that's like pretty much the only thing the customer notices. If you have a dirty wheel, the whole car is dirty. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how clean the car is. If you have a dirty wheel, the customer thinks the entire car is dirty. It's kind of crazy.
X, what is my thing? What are one of the things I like with my outfits? If you can remember, there's one part of my outfit. I feel it's the same way when you're wearing clothes. There's one part of my outfit that always has to be pristine and sharp and clean. And it's
your beard? It got to be your beard. Because I mean, you know, it's not much, but it's there and it looks good. It looks good. It works for you.
my shoes have to be on point. I'm a shoe guru. I have more shoes and they have to be clean on point.
How is that possible?
It's possible.
Love shoes.
It's possible.
I don't wear the same shoes. I have different shoes all the time.
I barely detail, and the moment I touch a wheel, I have compound everywhere. I mean,
well, no, I'm not necessarily my work shoes, but I'm meaning like your everyday shoes. Like when you're going out or you're doing things. Like for me to see someone and that's cleaned up in a nice pair of jeans or shorts or whatever, and they got raspy, dirty, muddy shoes, just makes me cringe. And then the only reason why I say it's kind of the analogy seems very similar to the car. The car's shoes is the wheels. And that's, for me, like you said earlier, Aaron, it's like if the wheels aren't clean, it really can offset that car.
Well, every time I go out, I dress like Tom Hanks in the movie Big when he comes down, the stairs and the tails. It's the only way that I go out. 100%.
I love it.
I remember when me and Matt the first time we've ever worked together. You always have to learn the routine, right? Matt's routine is completely different than mine. It's okay. Let me see what he does. Let's do one car. Let me get in the groove of it. Let me see what he does. And I always remember I said, I'm gonna do wheels. Let's spray the wheels down. And I'm hitting the wheels and I'm doing my thing on them. And Matt is standing behind me, and I'm like, what, am I doing something wrong? Or how would you do it? And just like, oh, okay. And then we started doing wheels, and I love wheels. I love a clean wheel. There's nothing like, oh my God, the wheels, man. That's just my thing. I love. I used to put out wheel videos like every week with Matt. I love wheel videos. That's what it is. So super fun.
All right, the stars are stacking up on us. Question. All right, one. There were two questions that basically I saw this question twice, and the second time I saw it, there was a second part to it. So the first part is, what would you be doing if you weren't detailing? And then the other part of the question, which is a precursor to this question, is what were you doing before you got hit by the detailing bug? Or did you were you fab and it was like, I've been detailing since I was 6. So no,
I would absolutely be a police officer. That was my
police officer.
Was it.
Were you doing any part of civil duty before detailing?
I was. Well, I'll answer the next question. I used to work for the city, so I worked for the city for 14 years. And my dad, he was in law enforcement, and seeing that and growing up in that, and that was something that I've always been interested in. I'm still interested in it. And but that would be what I would be doing. I'd be a police officer. That would be it.
That's fantastic. And if you don't, we don't have to go down this rabbit hole if you don't want to. But what made you pivot from protected and serving to detailing? And
it was almost at the same time. I took the test. I passed the test. I did my physicals. I was ready to go. And then actually sitting down behind the scenes with people that do it every day and having those honest, real conversations. And then at the same time having those conversations, I actually polished my first car, and literally 2 days after. And as I'm polishing this car, it was a black car, and I'm sitting there, and as soon as I was done with some of it, I was just like, holy crap, I enjoy the hell out of this. I can do this. And it just took off from there.
One punch gorilla.
Oh, no.
All right, Matt, you're up. What were you doing before you got into detailing, and what would you be doing if you weren't detailing?
Well, I'll make it real quick. My undergrad was in criminal justice. My initial goal growing up back east out of Washington, D.C. was to get in the federal government. I had a lot of family friends that were the CEO and FBI and everything else. But ultimately, I finished up college back there and came out here, went to school, got into the sales and marketing corporate world, did that for a long time. And then my ending before I left the corporate world for as many years, I was at the university as an executive vice president of the learning degrees, master's and bachelor's programs, and did that for almost 15 years. So once I left that, I got into it. And at the ending of that stage of my career, I had a friend that besides the typical just cleaning my own car and thing like that as a kid, everyone pretty much dabbles in that. But I had a friend that was actually a doctor that worked at the hospital, and he had a detailing business on the side when he wasn't working. And very good friend. And I thought, oh man, it's very interesting. I've always liked the detailing, and I kind of toggled back and forth to the fact of buying a car, detailing it, and reselling it, some of the older Corollas and Honda Civics. So I jumped in with him and started detailing with him. I spent a lot of time on the marketing and getting his company because it was just very kind of not super busy. It wasn't because he had other obligations, but I kind of ran with it. I ran with it on the social media side, especially Facebook. That's been my whole career. Built it up. And then he just got too busy. And I said, I'm going to start my own thing. So I ended up kind of launching off. And that's where I took off. I said, you know what? I've always wanted to own or do something on my own. And I really, really like working with my hands and being outside because I've, fortunately coached football for 20 years and still, and it's just being outside is just something I enjoy and passionate about. So I ended up starting and I got into detailing, and dude, it led to me where I'm at now. Like I've been doing it since then. I've been blessed and been thankful for the clientele that I've built up for years and years, the continued reputation that I have out here in Phoenix. And it works really, really well. My strategies of what I do and how I go about gaining clients. But if I was not to detail, because I'm passionate about children and kids, and I've thrown this idea to X about it, and it's still in the back of my mind, and it's probably going to happen. I just haven't figured out how I'm going to launch this. I'm growing up back east and being on the outskirts of the city and stuff, and seeing the unprivileged children and kids, and I see them at the high school and things like that. I really, really am passionate about giving the youth the opportunity to be successful. And I think that's where my energy and time would be, is I would be working strictly 100% with youth and kids. And trying to better them and giving them opportunities, may it be education, may it be learning a trade, creating this platform. And that is something that's part of the detail dive portion that I've talked about, that we're going to probably entertain. I really would like to create something with detail dive, meaning some kind of nonprofit or similar something in the inner cities, where we can create opportunities for kids to be able to wash cars, or create opportunity to gain money and to get themselves in a better situation. So that's something that I'm going to.
Yeah, I love that. And if I can help in any way, I will. When I first started Phoenix, I was collaborating a little bit with a gentleman in the area. His brother died, and he'd started a foundation, and the guy's name was Honey, or at least his nickname was Honey, and they worked with a lot of underprivileged kids, and they had both gone through the system, and basically I think this was like his third time through the system, and he came out and he was just like, I can either wind up back in here or dead, or I can do something with my life. And, he started detailing, and because that gave him a path and gave him some income and so on and so forth, he then in turn now donates his time to the local Y in Philadelphia and teaches these kids how to detail. So it's like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to make a couple of bucks on the weekend. It's going to keep you off the streets. It's going to give you, a sense of purpose. And then, as you, like the human condition, if you will, as you become better at your trade and you're doing better jobs, you get a sense of pride and an accomplishment. And he has really changed the lives in so many kids' lives. He just really has. And he's been featured on the Philadelphia local news. Distinguished Details is his business, and Derek Copes is his name, and he is an absolutely amazing human being. Cool. I'm honored to know him, but I think that is definitely right up your alley. And if there's some way that we can collaborate, and I would love to get Derek on. His story. Awesome. His story is it might be one of your best podcasts ever. If I can get him on your show, I think you should do it. He has a great story. He loves to tell it, and I think that would be a perfect place to showcase it.
I'd love it.
Beautiful.
I think it'd be great. Yeah, I think there's so much. I mean, I just feel there's so much, I mean, more today than when I was growing up, unfortunately, and a lot of us, there's so much more influence and things that are out there with these kids and how they can get distracted and directed the wrong way. And if I could just be just a small push to the right direction, or get them into a direction where maybe get them out of where they're at, or that vicious cycle of their generation after generation, and not being able to get out of that rut or that situation that they've been put in. Unfortunately, a lot of the kids have not been chose to put there. Unfortunately, they're grown up in that and they're brought into that, and they don't know because they don't have the support or the family around them to give them that drive or education to know where they need to go. So it's just something I've always liked. I feel like, what important is it to build our generation, because I want someone to be able to help run our generation and our society as I get old.
That's your true legacy. The way that the imprint that you can put onto the next generation, and hopefully make the world a little bit brighter and a little bit better. I think that we constantly fight that war against falling into cynicism and just this whole separation. Between we are, like, one of the catchphrases that we use a lot in Phoenix is "we're in this together," and you have to be in this together, or else.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. No, you can't. You couldn't agree more. I agree.
Yep.
All right. Question: how do you go about giving a price and then having to change it because of the more work, and how receptive are you is to your customer? Now, in the past, I've done these interviews, and that question comes up a lot. And I will I don't want to taint the waters, but Phil says communication.
That's it.
Absolutely. 100%. I think for me, I think everyone, depending on what level and what skill level, I think plays a big factor on where your price points are and what your budget, where you're pricing jobs. Obviously, I know there's a lot of detailers that want to try to come out of the gates and just start throwing price points that are probably not at the level they should be doing, unfortunately, because they haven't got I always like to say, the portfolio to present to that potential client. I always like to say, hey, what is your portfolio? And when I mean by portfolio, I mean by demonstrating your work, demonstrating what you've done, what you have to show other clients, so they can see that the value is worth the money that they're paying. It's huge. It's so important.
Is that harder to do as a mobile than it is to say brick and mortar, or?
I don't think so. I think it can be done very similar. I take a lot of photos of all my jobs. First, for my own purposes' sake, and I think that as long as you're showing the work and you're explaining the work and demonstrating that, so that people can potentially see that. I always will tell people, refer them to my Facebook page. Now that I've gotten more into Instagram, because I wasn't Instagram for a while, I never had. Send them to Instagram, but visual things for clients are very huge, very influential, and very big. So if a client can see the work that you've done, it builds character, it builds credibility, it builds value in who you are as a detail in your business. So they're more likely to pay the price of what you're going to suggest or give them, because they can see what you presented. So I think that's a big thing. I think price point. And then the other thing I've always said too, I think every demographic area is so different. I don't think that everyone's area and price point can be the same. I just don't. My personal opinion. I think certain areas, certain clientele are going to have a different budget, a different area. So that plays a factor too. And I think it's part of just understanding your demographic as a business owner and what you feel is efficient for your job. Not saying you undercut yourself and don't charge what you deserve, but I think you're understanding what your value, your dollar, your hourly wage. I think that's something that's huge too. What is your hour wage?
Do you ever shop around online and whatnot and see what other people are charging and stuff
Absolutely. Like that? Especially on the bigger jobs, like if I get these bigger boats, if I get an RV or something like that, I will go and look at some of the jobs, some of the people that spend a lot of time that they specialize in that, just to see price point, where they're at. I'm not saying I'm at their level, but I like to know what the price point is and what they're charging to get that job.
But I have seen your work on Instagram, and I would say that you are at that level, whatever that level that you're talking about is. You're putting out incredible work. Both of you. I mean, seriously, that I think I commented on one of your videos today, one of your posts today. It was just, I mean, it's like, wow, man. It's weird. Like it's hard for me because like I said, I hang out with Brian, every week, and he is putting out, the level of work that he's putting out, and the vehicles that he's doing the work to. Like I don't see Hondas on his lot at all anymore. Right. And like the level of work that he's putting out, and he's commanding top dollar for it. But there is a perfection in what he's doing.
Absolutely.
I don't know how does someone scale like that? I know, like Papa Smurf and I probably talk about this every day. He usually will call me on his drive into work, and it's something like we talk about. How do you scale that pricing structure? Because softer paints, harder paints, different styles. I wouldn't. I personally would not know how to price myself effectively. Like I think I know what I'm worth per hour, but that's subjective, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is. I think it is too. But I think there's many variables. For me, when I'm looking at price point, I'm looking at potential, what the job potentially is going to take on time. Yep. And I know in the back of mind, I know what I want to be paid hourly and what I'm trying to calculate in my time, my chemicals, my energy, my money, my travel time. And then I also will take in consideration the curveballs that could possibly take effect. Because you've got to have that in the calculation. You have to evaluate the fact that if there is something that could be worse or could go wrong, you want to be sure that you're being compensated, because not that you're planning on something to go wrong, but we can't predict everything. You just don't know what's going to happen. You get into a car and you're doing a paint correction, and the paint is, a lot worse when it comes to oxidation or whatever it is on the roof or the roof or the hood or whatever, especially on some of these GMCs and some of these older ones. Like I've done them where it's time consuming, dude. It is. And I've gotten into a point where, I can't even get it done because I've got to come back because of the time it's going to take.
Well, so let me ask you a curveball question, and I'd like to hear from both of you on this one. Somebody just DM'd me. A follow-up to this question would be, have you ever, or do you charge like on a sliding scale, meaning somebody brings you a car or asks you for a car, and you can tell that they're probably not they're not the wealthiest of people. They have, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, here's a scenario. My son is going on to prom next weekend, and I'd really like to have the car cleaned up. What can you do for me? Versus, the Bentley that comes rolling in and was just like, I need this. You know what I mean? So have you ever, or is it like a set price? I know there are guys out there. I just had dinner with one of them, and he was just like, I have a set price, period, at the end. There's another guy down the street that's cheaper if you don't want the level that I give.
I'll tell you, when I first started, I was one very quickly to receive and to take any work that I could possibly take, because I was in the mentality of just building. Exactly. Now that the time that I've invested in the energy and the time and the skill and what I've put into it, I've now know that my skill level and my time is worth more. So I don't give package deals. I know people do, a lot of people are, and it depends on what everyone has their own way of doing it. I feel because the fact that each client is so different, their cars are different, and not everything does each client need in a package. So what I tell my clients is I like to customize the package for their needs, depending on what they need. I don't like to say that, hey, this is a platinum and this is a gold, or this is it. That's not my style. My style is, let's talk about what you need, what's important to you, and then let's put a price to each of those things. And now those points of those prices are set. Those prices, like, I'm not going to change on my price on shampooing and stain removal. I'm not going to change my price on a paint sealant or a clay bar and wash. That's set. Okay. But that allows me to give that particular client or potential client the opportunity to say, hey, these are the 5 things I want to be sure that I focus on. And then I put that, hey, these are I know what my price is. And then I add up, hey, this is what you got. This is the price. I've gotten to the point where, depending on the cars, I've turned some cars away now because I mean, it sounds a little arrogant, cocky, but I don't want to cater to that destroyed type of car. That's just not the style of business. I'm not in that business anymore. I'm not in that.
But you know what your value is, and you know what you're worth. And I mean, again, all I have are like 4 people that I can compare your story to, and Brian from Apex is one of them. And that's exactly what it is. It's like my level of perfection is above that, and I'm sorry, I can refer you to 6 other people that do very, very good work.
That's right,
and that's that's what they're looking for. Like, he won't touch interiors at all. He's like, I'm not interested in an interior. I just won't do it. Like, what I mean? The cars that I'm working on don't need interiors. It's brand new Lamborghini rolling off the off the factory.
Absolutely.
Juan, I saw that you said yes a whole bunch of times to what Matt was saying. No. You feel the same way? You share his?
It's the same thing, man. You try to make it work as best you can for the client. You try to customize what they need. You're going to prom or wherever you're going. Okay, so I'm guessing the outside is probably going to be way more important. The looks of it and what you want people to see. So you try to make it work, but sometimes, unfortunately, it doesn't all work out, and the price points maybe are just not there. And like you said, Purple, we've done it before, me and Matt. Well, here's this guy. He's down the street, man. Beautiful work, amazing reputation. I'm guarantee you he'll take you in, no problem. It fits you better. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't work.
Sure. There's a I don't know if it's you want to call it a parable or a story or an anecdote, but basically at the end of the day, there was a woman who had a problem with her plumbing. She called on a plumber. Just stepping through the door, he charged her $175. He worked for 2 hours, couldn't fix it, and left. So she called the next guy. 2 hours, couldn't fix it and left. 2 hours, couldn't fix it and left. Each guy she's paying just to walk through the door. This guy she calls the 4th plumber. He comes in, works for 20 minutes, charges her 3 times as much. And she was just like, I don't understand. You were only here 20 minutes. These guys were here for 2 hours. They charged me whatever. And he said, ma'am, you're not paying me for the 20 minutes that it took me to fix it. You're paying me for the 25 years that it took me to learn what the problem was. And I think that needs to be applied, to your trade. You guys working 16 years in the industry, you're not going to be putting out the same level of someone who, had just got started and just got into it. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I mean, like, you're paying for that experience. A great example of this was at Southern Detailers Conference. I was down there with my horsemen. I brought a panel with me. I was showing off, working with a shine mate, and I was showing off, and I was like, I could buff this hood and da. And then Brian from Fab was just like, give me that, and he took it. He took it from me, and in like 30 seconds, it wasn't even the same hood. It wasn't even the same hood. Like, you know what I mean? And so here I was patting myself on the back, and he was just like, and but I mean, at the same time, he's a professional detailer that knows the trade 1,000 times better than what I would consider to be a backyard weekend warrior dabbler at best. There is definitely there's a difference, and I don't think there's anything wrong with charging accordingly, and especially if you're willing to help the next guy who is me trying to get started in the business, and you're like, you know what, go down there and see Aaron. He'll take care of you. He'll buff your car, and it'll be exponentially cheaper. You'll be fine, and you'll like the end result. Whereas I'm charging this amount because I'm bringing this much experience with me and ability. And
I get a lot, something that goes along with it with pricing. The only reason I share is I get a lot of people, I'll give the price once we discuss whatever it may be. And they're like, oh my goodness, that is like twice as much as a car wash. And then I just step back and I just have to be very professional, very tactful with what I say. And I just say, you know what? I completely understand where you're coming from. I'm unfortunately probably not for everybody. Everyone's got a budget, and that's completely fine. I'm a professional detailer. Unfortunately, I'm not a car wash. They do volume, and they have a lot of manpower that can do it. I specialize in these areas, and there's a difference, unfortunately, between the car wash and and that's why you're paying the fact of the convenience of being mobile and my time and my energy and the length and time and knowledge. There's a lot of variables. So I get that commonly told to me, but I just have to help be very tactful and very direct with them. We're two different people. We're not the same.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what, my friend Ryan, who he lives in the area, he's about 20 minutes away from me. He's one of the guys that I do a lot of the product research with. Hey, I got this that I'm working on. What do you think? And he'll give me a lot of feedback. He's a lot less tactful when it comes to that kind of stuff, where he's just like, I guess, obviously he's from New Jersey. I'm not from Jersey. He's from New Jersey. So he has a very Jersey approach to things, where it's just like, I want you to go and take that car to that guy. And then and when he's done with it and he screws it up, you can bring it back to me and I will fix it. And I will charge you what I should have done. So he's a little bit more aggressive about it, but it's the same thing. Go ahead. I am not for you, but when, he doesn't perform the way that it needs to be, you can bring it back to me and I'll fix it for you. And I won't be afraid.
I've been there. I've done that several times.
Yep. Right. I got two more questions, and then we have a really, really big announcement that we've been dying to share with you guys. This is very exciting. So the first question that I have is, Juan, what watch is it that you're wearing?
It's just a regular G-Shock, man. I love G-Shock. Matt knows, Jess knows, everybody knows. I got a variety of G-Shocks, man. These are the best. I love them. I scratch them up all day, and that's what I do.
G-Shock. I love watches. I have a crazy watch collection upstairs. They range from the $10 Timex to some other fancier watches that I've collected over the years. What is a G-Shock? Where do you get it?
I get them online, just on their website. They're just real durable, real sturdy, and they bump around all day, and they just fit. So what do we do? And you take them off every once in a while when you detail, but that's what I like to wear. I like them, all kinds of colors.
All right.
Matt knows.
Oh, love it, dude.
And then going back to what we were talking about earlier when you were talking about cleaning the wheels, which wheel brushes do you guys recommend?
Oof, dude, you know what? I like the proper detail, their wheel brushes, and then I use some of the Mac Shine barrel brushes and stuff. But yeah, those are my favorites.
All right. That's it as far as the questions that I saw. That's everything. So I guess it's time to make that announcement. We've been doing this for about an hour and a half now, which is fantastic. I really appreciate your guys' time. I want to be respectful of your time. I know that you are, Matt, are you 3 hours behind as well? Or are you
yes, we are currently. So we're same time for a while. And then what do you guys change, like September or October?
That's right. Arizona is like one of the only states that doesn't recognize daylight savings. That's awesome. I wish that the entire country would do that. All right. So this is really, really huge news for me, for Phoenix. And I could not be happier about this. I am so excited. I've really been losing my mind over this. Juan, do you want to announce it, or do you want me to announce it, or you want to announce it, or do you want me to announce it?
I feel like you should just do it. I feel like you're ready.
All right. So we Phoenix E.O.D. finally has found the perfect West Coast distribution. Juan's company has decided to take us on board, and they have the ability to actually ship. So it's not like a brick and mortar where you drive up. We actually will be shipping from the West Coast. So all of you West Coasters and anybody on the other side of the Mississippi that is like shipping is absolutely bonkers, which it is. I know that UPS just settled their strike and the delivery drivers got $1 bazillion more an hour. So I know that prices are going to go up, and I know that USPS just raised their prices something stupid, like I think the third time in a year, or I forget what it is, but I know that the shipping rates are going up. And although we do not charge handling, and you guys, if you go to our website, you get charged for shipping what the couriers are charging. We don't add money. We don't add a percentage to it. We don't do handling. If it says, it costs $10.78, all of that money is going to UPS or USPS or whatever.
Yes.
But I do know that it is a massive deterrent. So now we have a West Coast distributor.
Hey.
It's
Does that mean Aaron doesn't have to deal with me anymore? Aaron, you don't have to deal with me anymore? Or do
No, well, I mean, I don't necessarily consider it dealing with you.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
We talk all the time, and I
know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Juan, make sure that's correct.
That is correct. Yep, that's perfect.
All
there
right.
It is. Yep.
There it is. There's the website. We are going to basically be doing a little bit of a revamp on our website. So we have 3 distributors that actually ship throughout the United States. And we have a distributor in Canada that ships. We have a distributor in the United Kingdom that ships. And we have a distributor in Australia that ships. Dang. But as far as the United States is concerned, we now have everything locked up. We have Juan from XYZ Auto Detailing, and xydistributionz.com is handling everything on the West Coast. Fab Automotive Detailing is handling everything Midwest. And Apex Auto Detailing, or Apex Surface Protection, is handling everything that we're not handling on the East Coast. So we have we have 3 major distributors that actually do ship. We do have other distributors throughout the country, but they're more brick and mortar esque, where you basically have to be close and drive over to the shop and get it. So I am so excited. Juan, we've had a couple of people or fish that have shown interest in carrying our product on the West Coast.
Right.
I didn't feel that it was a good fit. I feel even better after having this interview with you guys. I love what you guys are about. I love what the 2 of you are about. I could not be happier to be sharing this next chapter with you guys. Juan, we're going to be funneling everything West Coast. I'm going to be sending out an announcement probably Monday via our mail flyers announcing you, and then we're just going to advertise and blow the crap out of it that you are the West Coast distributor.
You know what, man, and again, we talked a lot for the last couple of days, and we've been talking about this for a little bit now, and to make it happen and to get that first order in and to get the website set up and to finalize it and to announce it like this, man, I appreciate you and let me take this and do something with it with you guys. And I can't say thank you enough, man. And you know how excited I am. We talked earlier and we talked yesterday and before that. And, it's just one of those things where it's I'm ready for this, man. And it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Like I think it's going to be very. I think it's going to be very great for you, and I think it's going to open up a huge door for us. I know that we do a lot of Google Analytics and tracking and things of that nature, and I'm really confident that a lot of people get all the way up to the checkout and they go, there's no way that I'm going to pay $9.99 for soap and $12.87 for shipping. Like it just seems stupid to me. And we get people asking all the time, do you do and in the very, very beginning when we first opened, we tried to do flat rate shipping. We tried to do free shipping over a certain amount of money, and So there was a cat in San Francisco that ended up buying something like 12 cases of soap.
Yep.
I mean, and it raped me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was just like, all right, we can't, we have to figure, that we can't do that.
Yeah.
And so we ended up dropping everything to make, try to make it as fair as possible. But, yeah. I'm so excited about it. And like, Juan, like you and I had talked about earlier, the relationship is more important than the dollar.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
It wasn't something that we were just going to frivolously do, and just, team up with anybody. And we're very protective of our brand. And we're even more protective of the relationships that we have fostered. And I just think, from the very first time that the three of us met, we had that chemistry. I think that you share a very, very similar philosophy with pretty much everybody in this room.
Right.
Everybody in this room, it is really a little family here. We know everybody in the room, except for maybe damn Jess. She's new to me. But I'm glad that she's here. And
look at Jess. Look at, she's got a hat on in that picture.
Yeah,
like detailed dive.
Detailed dive hat, man.
Really? Where do you get one of those? That's not fair.
Send me your address and I'll send one out. I think a few left before I order more. I need to order more. X and I have been talking about, but I think I have a few left in the box.
Okay. Is she related to you guys?
She is my other half. She's my other half.
What?
She is.
Awesome. That's awesome. I was going to ask about that a little bit. I didn't know if that was going to get weird, but Matt, you had said earlier about your presence on Facebook, and when I was stalking you on Facebook, I noticed that you had a couple of pictures. I think you're coaching. Mm-hmm. It's your background splash page, which is kind of, I think, are those your kids, or are those just kids that you're coaching, what's your story?
I played football. And at college, played high school. I've coached football for over 20 years. So I've coached the high school and I've coached the youth level. I had a club team for about 15 years on top of coaching high school. So I am very engaged into football and coaching, which again goes along with that whole passion of the youth side of things that I'm really passionate about and driving towards. And so I've had a lot of experiences with the youth level, getting into high school, where single parent, not having much, really trying to help these kids do something because they have the talent to kind of lead them and direct them. And it's been an honor. It's been rewarding to see a lot of my kids playing at Division I schools, Division II football right now. I have both my nephews playing at college Division I right now that I've coached since they were 5. So it's just a fun. I love football, obviously, but I've coached other sports too. But that's just it's just my thing. I mean, I have 2 girls, so I didn't have the boys, the sons growing up. So my sons are all the boys I've coached in all the years. So they're considered family to me. So my wife says you have more boys than you need.
For sure. Real fast. Dan, Juan is our West Coast distributor, and the website is at the bottom of the page. He placed the order. He'll be having product most likely, if I were a betting man, it would be towards the end of next week, but he'll have product, but he's already ready to rock and roll. We've been working, he's been working around the clock diligently to get everything up and running and operational. And we're just so super excited. The respect that I have for you guys and the community bond. I love the fact that you're a part of this. I do. I'm so excited. I can't even tell you.
I love it.
You pick what to give away. We're not there yet. Let's do a giveaway, Aaron. And then real fast, Juan, going back to that damn Jess claims you. What else you got going on? Do you have any Rugrats or anything? Or
I do. I have a couple daughters, and they keep me honest, and
good.
It's one of those things. It was funny because it's just they keep you like being a girl dad really changes you from the sports they're in to the way you look at things in life. The biggest thing I'm learning right now is patience. You gotta be patient. You things just don't happen, and I'm learning that from all angles. And it's very interesting. And Jess is over here making me better, and every time we talk, Aaron, that's who I'm talking about because I'm excited. Tell her I'm excited. I'm ready to get this started. And she, shout out to her because she's been helping me with the website. She's very supportive, and she's ready for this journey too. And we're ready to do it.
100%. I know that I could not do this without my support, and the same way with Fab, and the same way with Papa Smurf. You're not an island by yourself, and if you are, you're going to get swallowed up really, really fast. And if you don't have that family support,
it's true.
You kind of get tossed pretty quick.
Yeah, it's real easy.
I think Papa Smurf has been drinking a lot of apple juice if he thinks that's going to happen. So, all right. Well, then we usually do give away something. We try to do a giveaway. I might as well just send it to Keith right now because he always. I don't understand.
Papa Smurf is what it is, man.
But 100%.
Titan.
So I don't know. What do you guys? We can give away anything you want. Maybe Juan should give it away. Maybe Juan should give it away.
We should do that.
Once you get it, then you can give it away. We'll do it that way.
Perfect.
So then, what's the trivia question? We usually do trivia-based question, and it should be pertaining to you guys.
Matt, you can ask the question, and I'll give away the product.
Okay, let's do this. Where was the first time X and I met? What city? Where was that? We talked about in the early part of the show.
That is a great question. I love that. Everybody's flipping to a new tab so they can rewind it. All right. Where was the first time? What was the city that these guys? All right. We have a New York, Las Vegas. Nope, apparently not.
Nope, none of those.
New York again, 43. Shine Your Light Detailing, 43. Good choice. NYC. I know that the guy that introduced you was from there, but that doesn't mean that's where you guys are from.
We were met through this individual. We got some people that are getting close, but where we physically initially met in person.
I got an LA, I got an Arizona, I got a 42, a 21. A Cher concert, it's got to be it.
Sounds about right.
And we're getting close. California is close. LA is close.
You're there.
So I'll give you that.
It's Slammer.
That sounds about right too. I'll tell you.
Sorry, Tim. Damn, just already got it.
Prison was good too.
Yeah, a couple years together.
San Francisco, San Diego.
It's gonna might be a tough one.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a detailed dive, so they need to know.
It's true.
We just don't give Titan away to just anybody.
The interesting thing is, I'll give you even more of a hint. If you go to our first live and our podcast and our thing, you'll see where I think we talked about it and we said where we were.
Oh boy,
that's true. Irvine, a little farther.
A little further.
Would you say a little further north or a little further south?
A little east.
Okay. So
east. The shop? No, not the shop.
I'm trying to think of all the places the walk-in killer murdered people.
Jess, do you know?
She don't know. I don't.
She doesn't know either.
Swear it.
I was living in Irvine during that whole. Remember Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, the walking killer? Yeah, we were living in Irvine, in a rancher, which was his, like, that was his MO. He was hitting ranchers up, and he was going all through that territory between, like, basically Anaheim and San Diego. And man, that was a scary time to be alive.
Here, I'm gonna give it
Puerto Rico. Keep going. Just keep going.
I'm gonna give another hint. This may take it all away. Between Phoenix and the town, in between Phoenix and, what do you say? What's the easiest way, X? San Bernardino?
No, I would say. Okay, let's make it real easy then, right?
Let's make it.
Yeah, between Yucaipa and the border, California, because there's not much in between of California, Arizona. There's really nothing left.
All right, so one person in California is going to win this.
We got a winner.
There it is.
We got to go winner. There it is.
There it is.
Rich Smith, Palm Springs.
Rich Smith, Palm Springs. Tim, you just missed it, buddy. Yeah, my brother just mentioned, he was just like, to further that story up. My mother, she made us. We didn't have air conditioning, and she made us sleep with the windows closed during that whole period of time. Yeah, it was crazy, nuts. Oh, yeah, I stole it, Bakersfield. All right, Rich Smith, I need you to email me your, unless this is the Rich Smith. Which then I already have your contact information. But if you're a different Rich Smith, email me at aaron@phoenixeod.com with your mailing information. I'll get that over. To Juan. And
absolutely.
All right. Hey, so here's another real quick before we wrap this up. Matt affectionately is always referred to you as X. Yes. And so I've tried to do that, but I also slip Juan in all the time. So, like, what would be your preferred moniker? Is it X, or is it Juan, or is it something else?
I think Matt created a beast for.
He was the first one to call me that, and as soon as he did it on the first live we've ever done before we started, it stuck. Everybody was like, "That's what it is. That's his name. That's what we're gonna do. Like that's what we're gonna call him." And that's what people call me. There's only the two people that don't call me that, and Jess is one, and then there's another person. But people call me X. That's just what it. Matt, like I said, Matt started that. That's what shall stay.
I created that horrible instead of giving him his official name, but
yeah, it's true. So we'll keep it.
I'm gonna give it to you.
It just fits.
All right. So I guess without anything else going on, we did a giveaway. We made our huge announcement. I'm so excited about it. Everybody write that down at xydistributionz.com.
Yes.
And we will we're going to take over. We are going to take over the United States, the continent. The empire has definitely taken a massive step forward tonight, gentlemen. I couldn't be more excited to be working with you guys.
Question real quick.
Yeah, sure.
So people that I talked to out in Phoenix and stuff, other detailers, is he carrying you? I guess X can answer to it. Carrying all the products from gallons to 16, so that people know it's anything you offer, he carries.
So essentially, yes, but the order we placed, or that I placed today, just kind of handpicked just to let's get things.
It's definitely a ramp up situation.
Okay.
With any and for lack of a better term, for any kind of startup, it's better to kind of ease into it. You don't want him to be very product heavy. And then when you start, like with my distributor in Australia is a fantastic Ospro. You guys check him out. He is a phenomenal guy. He is a hell of a fellow. He definitely fits into our community of just being an epic dude. But you kind of get a flavor for what your customers want, and then he dives in really heavy with that kind of stuff. So, and like we had talked about in the very, very beginning of this episode, every region is kind of a little bit different. You know, some people, like some areas might be really, really, and I've learned a lot about this, you know, going through Amazon and working with Amazon. There are certain territories that are, you know, like Apex Soap sells the crazy down in the Southwest region, and it doesn't sell it at all in the Northeast region. And so Amazon will basically shift product from the Northeast down to the Southwest. And then that's where we get into the complications of, hey, I think I got a version 1 bottle of soap. And it's just like, we haven't made version 1 in like a year, but because that inventory is now being shuffled from a place that doesn't really sell a whole lot to a place that does sell a whole lot, now you're getting this mixed stuff. And so anybody that reaches out to me, I'm always like, just keep it, give it to your mailman or somebody that you care about. It's still a really good soap. I'll send you a free bottle if that's, you know, if you need it or want a new bottle. So to answer your question, eventually, I'm sure if he needs to carry the whole line, he'll carry the whole line. But we're going to start out slow and then kind of ramp it up. And then, of course, you can always email him and reach out to reach out to X and say, hey, I want you to start carrying this from Phoenix, and he'll do it. And just one more thing that I'd like to, you know, put down for the record. X and I have had lots of conversations, and I would love to see him be as successful as humanly possible. So if there's any other companies out there that sell product, X is absolutely welcome to carry other lines.
Absolutely.
Like I said, we're in this together. There's enough room out there for everybody. Looks like right there. All right, you're back. Okay. So you know, reach out to Juan and or X and say, hey, you know, have you thought about carrying this line? Have you thought about carrying that line?
Yes.
You know, like I said, we want X to be as successful as possible, and if that means that he carries a competitor, so be it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all right with it. I want X. I want you to be as successful as possible.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
You know, like that door's open.
Yeah.
Obviously, Phoenix products are the best, and I don't know why you would carry it other than Phoenix products. But you know, if you'd like to carry, like you had said, you know, there's the Apex level of detail products, and then there's the Honda level of detail. You're welcome to carry the Honda level. I give you my blessing.
I love it. I love it.
We're gonna make it work, and again, you know, the opportunity is amazing, man. And thank everybody. And like you said, it's going to be an incredible journey for us, and you know, we can't wait to see where it goes.
And I guess last but not least, currently the wheel cleaner on the horizon. So Tim from Shine Your Light Detail, the maniac that he is, has really come up with a really cool wheel cleaner, tire cleaner, mat cleaner, using the combination of a couple of products. And I recently reached out to a chemical vendor to get a really cool product that when you add to the mix, it kind of thickens it up a little bit so that it will cling. So we're definitely working on a wheel cleaner, mat cleaner, rim cleaner, all in one. That actually clings and where you spray it. It's really, really cool. I have probably the best part of my job is getting to play with the science, and that's a lot of fun. We also have an interior cleaner and conditioner that we're working on, and we have in the warehouse right now, we have some raw materials that we're going to start working on a panel prep. And a glass cleaner, because the chemical components are very similar. It's about playing with ratios and stuff like that. But you know, we really feel that you should have you know, bookends for a ceramic coating line, and so having a panel prep, I think, would really, you know, be the definitive bookend for our Phoenix ceramics. So I think. Rich, I have your information. Don't worry about it. I got you covered. But just in case, I think I put it on the banner for a second there, didn't I? I thought I had it up there. I could be wrong. Oh, yeah, there it is. Rich, go ahead and just email me, Aaron at Phoenix E.O.D. It's super simple. It's me and the name of the company. So other than that, that's what we have planned for coming up. Matt, what do you got going on next?
What's next for
Extra Mile Detail? What's next for Detail Dive?
Well,
like, what do you got planned? More importantly, where can people find you? Where can people find the podcast and all things Detail Dive?
Yes.
There you
go. You can find Detail Dive on Instagram. We have an Instagram page that we encourage you to follow. We do have a TikTok page that we try to upload some content off and on, but primarily it's Instagram. And then all our podcast episodes are on, like you said earlier, on all the podcast platforms. We are going to be in the works. I know X and have kind of gotten back and forth of trying to what's the best way of saying? Trying to direct more of our live Q&As and trying to get to YouTube channel and starting to do that a little more. I think it's a little more sufficient and a little more professional than the IG. I know IG sometimes is easy, but sometimes it's just you have hiccups, and I don't know. It's nice to have the live Q&A and be able to have comments. Sometimes it's a little easier. So that is something that we're in the process. I think we're working on. The
show, I could show you exactly what Papa Smurf showed me with the StreamYard. It's so easy, and it really is a great platform. And if you're following the whole Joe Rogan experience type of model, you can still have your podcast and have this content on YouTube.
Right.
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy listening to you guys, but I also do. I think there's a lot in facial expressions and stuff like that. Like when you and I did the podcast together, like you and I actually got to have this conversation just like we're having now, and then but it translates over to the podcast where people aren't seeing this, and I there's just a little something, especially having the interaction. The live stream interaction with the viewers is just really, really great.
I think that's something that I know we talked about. I think X and I will want to do it. I think it's just we have the channel. X has already created the thing. I think it's just now getting, like you said, getting people to transition or the following stats to get there so that we can go live and do that stuff. So I think as we slowly work ourselves, we'll be able to do that. I think it'll be I know that on our last episode with Jamie the Cleaner, he spoke heavily about doing. He's doing the same thing. He uses the same thing and does his Q&A and his podcast. He uploads it on several of the podcast platforms. So it sounds like it's a pretty sufficient way, and it's easy and nice for people to do. So,
what anything left for Extra Mile? What's next for Extra Mile?
Extra Mile. That's a good question. I think the big thing for me is I really would like to, as I mentioned in X, I really would like to dive into the PPF. I think that's the direction that I would like to add to.
Is that something that you can do mobile?
That may be something I end up getting a place, or doing it in my home, or getting a shop, or we talked about doing more of it in California, maybe having some of it done in California if we can build that business enough to make it happen in California, which I think it could. I mean, a lot of people ask about the PPF out here. A lot of my clients do, and I just have to refer them out to some of the other companies.
It's very lucrative.
It is. Yeah. It really is.
Definitely.
So that's something I'd like to do. I'd like to find, like you said, Brian or David, I think it'd be awesome to shadow, or if you'd be interested, find and learn from someone that's mastered the skill and that does it regularly and understands it and can explain it. I'd love to be mentored by someone like that. It would be fun to do.
Yeah, he is the master for sure. Jamie the Cleaner's in the house.
Yes, listen to that episode. That was a great episode.
That was really fun. Really good time. Thanks, Jamie, for your time again. It was awesome. That was a great episode. Like we said, dude, you'll have some great laughs. Jamie definitely opened up and shared many of his personal experiences before he got to detailing, which is really cool.
That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I spent most of my day, dealing with Newark traffic, but And X, I know what's on the plate for XYZ Auto Detailing. What's going on? Do you have any last things that you want to add to the detail dive of what's next for the detail dive, other than what Matt already covered, or your final thoughts?
It's one of those things, man. We appreciate everybody's support and what we're doing in the vision and seeing the bigger vision. It's not about us. We said it from day one. It's about everybody else that we bring on and shining them and bringing them to the light and giving them their stories and things and who they really are as people, and then the business second. And we think that's very important. And how can we come together as a team and a group and a community to make everybody better? Because there's, like you said earlier, there's plenty to go around, and that was our whole mindset going into it. There's plenty to go around. And
yeah,
what more can you say? We want everybody to be successful and do big things and take the risk. And like I said earlier, why not, right? Why can't you do it?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? All right. Well, on that note, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. Everybody, thanks for coming out. Enjoy the apple juice.
You guys.
Thank you.
Make sure that you like and subscribe, and make sure that you support these guys. They're putting out fantastic content all the time. It's definitely worth going back and re-listening to the podcast if you've already listened to something, because I'm always hearing something new that I didn't, get distracted, and then I come back to it and I'm like, oh man, I didn't hear that the first time around. You guys are putting out great content, asking great questions, definitely talking to the best of the best in the industry, and it's just phenomenal to be a part of it and to watch you guys grow and your subscriber base grow. I really appreciate you guys coming out and being a part of the Curmudgeon's Corner. It was really a delight to have you guys on. So thanks to everybody for watching. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us on, Aaron.
Yes, sir.